Both boats at full speed, it's neck and neck. These boats locked together. He cannot believe what has happened. No room! Pulls the spray, barreling down the line.
As they're coming on the inside, Barkow burying the bow. I think there's contact between the rack and the pole.
Welcome to St Petersburg for Match Cup Russia, the fourth championship level event on the 2017 World Match Racing Tour. The St Petersburg Yacht Club plays host, with the match racing action taking place on the mouth of the Neva River, as the tour visits Russia for the first time in the super-fast M32 catamarans. World champions, Olympic heroes and America's Cup sailors are here amongst the international crews competing for the coveted title and precious tour points.
It will be a tough fleet. We trained a bit, so I think we're ready. Last event we were fourth, very happy with that in Maastricht. We hope we can repeat it better, who knows. Exciting event for us.
Pretty cool city and nice to be sailing up here. So sort of look to do is just make sure we're on track and get back into the rhythm of things.
Yeah, we had a disappointing result in the last event. We got knocked out in the Super 16, five-setter to Swede, Nicholas Dackhammer. Put a lot of hours, of thought and what went wrong and how we're going to improve.
This week's roster of international crews also includes 9 qualifying skippers and 4 wildcards, all hoping to make the most of their chance to race against the world's best in Russia's challenging and unpredictable waters. WMRT Match Cup Russia got off to a flying start, with the fleet racing round seeing a mixed bag of conditions. Day 1, and it was match racing world champion Phil Robertson of China 1 Ningbo and Matt Jerwood of Redline Racing who dominated Group 1, with consistent performances from both now seasoned sailors. However, Peter Jan Postma of Sailing Team NL topped the group with a brace of bullets on Day 2. Also qualifying from the group were local hero Viktor Serezakin of Gazprom Team Russia and Austrian wildcard skipper Nico Delacarth of Chile Racing. Meanwhile, in Group 2, a string of good finishes saw 6-time World Match Racing Tour champion Ian Williams of GAC Pindar top his group, with Nicholas Dackhammer of Essek Racing Team qualifying in 2nd place. Tour card holder Sally Barkow's win in the penultimate race ensured Team Magenta 32's passage into the Super 16 stage. Jan Guichard of Spindrift Racing dominated Group 3, the Frenchman producing a string of bullets and 2nd places, whilst Neptune Racing's Sam Gilmore also qualified after overcoming a slow start to the regatta. The regatta said goodbye to Evgeny Elfimoy of M1 Cloud. Day 3 WMRT Match Cup Russia saw the competition enter the eagerly anticipated knockout matches in the Super 16 stage. In the first pairing, Australian Matt Jerwood saw off Sally Barkow in style, winning 3-0 to move on into the quarterfinals. Meanwhile, Jerwood's compatriot Steve Thomas raced into an unprecedented 2-0 lead against current match racing world champion Phil Robertson. We join the action in race 3, the Kiwi skipper needing a win to avoid an early departure.
Great start for both boats, and we are off. Now Robertson has to win this match to stay in the regatta. So now, another big wave that bow down there. Tough conditions as the breeze is against the tide. Robertson leading Stephen Thomas into the leeward gates.
Interesting, Robertson throwing in another jibe there. I think he thought this mark might be a little further upwind. Beautiful angle as the boats sail straight towards us. It's Phil Robertson in his must-win situation, doing exactly what he needs to do.
Stephen Thomas confident in his boat speed and the left side of the course, staying with Phil Robertson, not electing to split. There finally is the tack onto port, and Robertson lets him go. Beautiful job for Phil Robertson so far. No mistakes in this race, which is what you need to do if you're going to win, particularly in a pressure-filled must-win situation. He'll jibe around the right-hand mark, and Thomas still trailing him will do the same.
Phil Robertson ripping away on starboard jibe. as Thomas bears away. Now he'll go into the jibe deploy. And that was great work by Phil Robertson. He's now got a lead of about 20 seconds. Thomas settling down after the jibe and now screaming towards the boundary.
Wow, Thomas almost losing it there, just keeping the boat under control in these conditions. And look at Phil Robertson, literally both hulls just shot up out of the water. And finally back in control. Impressive job. He approaches the leeward gates, and likely it's going to be an early furl on the Jenniker.
Thomas coming straight towards the boundary here, and he is only one maneuver behind in these conditions. As he approaches the boundary, he's going to have to try and pick a reasonably flat spot. Easier said than done. A little bit of windward Jenniker to get the bows down, and they're off to the races again.
This is the door cracking open that Stephen Thomas was looking for to get his third win. Has he got a piece of Phil Robertson? It was a slow tack for Robertson. Thomas on starboard, but Phil Robertson has just got it. He is across into the final mark and the sprint to the finish. No Jenniker coming out this time, and no surprise with the breeze topping 25 knots. No need to push it that hard when you've got a lead like this. It's Phil Robertson approaching the finish line to take his first race in this qualifying round and stay in the regatta in a first to win 3 matches. It's now 1-2. Phil Robertson to Stephen Thomas, and wow, just look at that, he saves it.
Thomas held on to the lead going in overnight as racing ended for the day. Day 4, and the current world champion showed why he is the man to beat, completing his comeback to take the tie 3-2 as the action resumed in the heart of the city.
From 2-0 down, it's Phil Robertson winning 3-2 over Steve Thomas of Australia.
Yeah, Stevie put up a pretty good fight, and I think a bit of credit to my boys as well for coming back, being 2-0 down to come back and winning that one. So I think we're a bit more relieved than anything, and yeah, we've sailed on this river a few times and know what it's like, and speed is definitely your friend, so we're trying to keep her in the puff pretty much as we could today.
In the remaining Super 16 pairings, Frenchman Jan Guichard battled hard to defeat sail-off qualifier Lucas Wasinski 2-0. Whilst Peter Jan Postma survived a Kim Kling comeback to progress into the quarterfinals.
But everyone else can see Peter Jan Postma winning the race, 1 up over Kim Kling.
Here with sailing team NL with Gerwin, Juan and Thijs, we worked hard, and it is really tricky here on the St Petersburg, on the river with lots of current and shifts, but I think we're happy. Yes, we're happy.
Also making the final 8 was Ian Williams, dispatching Nico Delacarth after a contentious battle on the water.
Absolutely brilliant work by Ian Williams.
So Williams has stolen the lead back from Delacarth as we head back upwind and regains control of the match. A blue flag. Ian Williams got a penalty at that leeward mark, and I wonder if it's because Delacarth may have been into the zone first.
Williams shook off his penalty.
Now 2-0, that means he'll move on into the quarterfinals of Match Cup Russia.
Jonas Farah progressed at the expense of Niklas Dackhammer, the Danish skipper staging a comeback after going 1-0 down. Whilst Mons Homburg ended Russian skipper Viktor Serezakin's already superb showing at this regatta. The final 8 was tour card holder Sam Gilmore with a victory over Marcus Erdogran, the American team nearly tipping over in their time.
Wow, oh no, Blue, is he going up? Is he going over?
Total unforced error. Wow, how about that?
After some thrilling sailing in the opening stages, the cream rose to the top to produce a mouth-watering lineup of quarterfinal matches.
Yeah, it was really close racing, short courses, and we had like 3 crashes or something. So yeah, it's our first time through to the quarterfinals in our fourth time, I think. So it's a great feeling.
Join us after the break as the competition hots up on the water with a place in the semi-final at stake here at Match Cup Russia. Welcome back to Match Cup Russia, hosted by St Petersburg Yacht Club. It's quarterfinals time and only 4 of the remaining 8 skippers can progress to the next stage and be in with a chance at a place on the podium. Day 5 and the conditions on the Neva River were shifty and tricky in the 10 to 12 knot breeze. The first pairing saw tour card holders Sam Gilmore and Jan Guichard go head-to-head.
It's a really narrow place for sailing. It's a fantastic place, but it's going to be really tricky. The wind going to be really shifty, so we will take a race after race and we will see what happens.
You know, this is the 3rd time in 3 events that we've gone up against Jan. It's good to go up against him a 3rd time. He got the better of us both previous 2 occasions, so you know we really want to win this one and feeling pretty good.
Guichard was favourite, having beaten Gilmore 3-0 at both Match Cup Australia and GKSS Match Cup Sweden. And the signs looked ominously familiar as the Frenchman shut out the young Australian in the pre-start and won an almost uncontested first race. But Gilmore won the next 2 starts to take the score to 2-1. With Gilmore on match point, could Guichard turn the tie around?
30 seconds to go and a good, strong position for Gilmore.
Yep, so the cat and mouse game going on here. It's Guichard with his bow down. No, he can't get the hook, so now he puts his bow up. He's going to try and go over the top with 15 seconds to go. Great acceleration by Guichard with 12 seconds to go.
Whoa,
now
look at
down
that.
and across Gilmore's bow. So there's the role reversal. 5 to go, and it's Guichard to leeward, sheeting on. And there's the starting signal.
How about
and
that?
Awesome maneuvering.
Recall blue. Oh no, Jan Guichard is over early. Such an aggressive pre-start, and he did what he needed to do, starting ahead, but too close over the line, and Guichard will slow down, allowing Gilmore to take the lead.
Well, it looks like Guichard putting his bow down there, rounding the left mark. He's left his Jenica out, Tucker, so interesting. He's identified that it's pretty light. Now he feels it. So I wonder if that must have been a conscious decision, I think, to round with the Jenica. It certainly didn't look like a late furl, but you can see Gilmore on the right, just cruising upwind on starboard, no Jenica, and looking quite comfortable now.
Guichard in an H1 configuration for a bit there, hull flying out of the water, meaning he's got better breeze and better speed to Gilmore with both hulls in the water, but no matter. Comfortably out in front as he approaches the top mark for the last time. You see the bowman coming back off the front of the boat. A lot of these teams in light air try to get their weight as far forward as possible. Phil Robertson, a champion of that, tends to be the most aggressive with it, and yet he's the world champion. He's also won every event on the tour this year in catamaran, so I think I'd be copying it, wouldn't you, Scotty?
I think so. So you can see there Guichard on the right with quite a bit more pressure. Gilmore got a little bit slow, but there's really not a lot of racetrack left. So there we go. Gilmore now, he powers up. Everyone to windward. He's flying nicely as he bears away around the final mark. And it's a short sprint back to the finish towards the Peter and Paul Fortress. You can see Guichard still going upwind.
So there it is.
Across the finish line, it's Sam Gilmore takes the point to move to 3-1.
And look at the celebration aboard. They're happy with that finish. They know it. They've just bested Jan Guichard. Top 4 semifinalists. Your first one is Sam Gilmore.
The guys were sailing really well today, and for sure in the course today it's quite short and really important just to get the starts right, and I think we did that most of the time pretty well.
Quarterfinal pairing 2 saw wildcard Mons Homburg take on Matt Jerwood of Australia.
I feel like we got a strong chance, but he's the favorite here, so we're going to go out and just try to do our best.
He's a strong competitor. You know, he's got a lot of his fight from his father. You know, we love racing Mons and we can't wait to get out there.
Jerwood lost the start in race 1, but sailed over the top of the Swede, then won the second wire-to-wire. But Homburg levelled with his own wire-to-wire victory and then made a fantastic comeback in race 4, as he somehow jibed inside Jerwood, rounding the bottom mark. In the final do-or-die race, Homburg came back from a double penalty at the start. Jerwood hooked the buoy at the bottom mark of the first downwind, but teammate Patrick Voss calmly jumped into the water and unhooked them. The Australians escaped before Homburg could take control. He took the victory and with it a place in the semi-finals. Up next, Jonas Farah faced the mighty Ian Williams. Williams uncharacteristically lost the start twice against the less experienced Dane, but twice managed to regain the lead.
Ian Williams to leeward on starboard. There's the lead change, and he just pulled it out of nowhere, didn't he?
And after a masterful decision to go right at the last top mark, the British skipper took the tie 3-0 in a scoreline that didn't reflect how tight the racing really was.
Furling it up and crossing the finish line 3-0. Ian Williams takes Jonas Farah and he'll move on to join the semi-finalists.
The starting was a bit off today. I think struggling with the timing about final circle, but great job by the guys on Team GAC Pindar. I think we're a little smoother, a little faster downwind, which is super critical into this current.
The final quarter-final tie was the eagerly anticipated matchup between Pieter-Jan Postma of the Netherlands and match racing world champion Phil Robertson.
I'm pretty fierce. Yeah. Ask the guys on the boat. Appreciate life, but on the water, it's serious business.
You got to be loving it because that's what motivates you, and you got to be serious when it counts as well. So I think the team has a pretty good balance of switching on and off when it matters and when it doesn't. So definitely need to have a lot of laughs on board.
The Flying Dutchman lived up to his nickname by rolling over the top of the Kiwi skipper at over 20 knots after losing the start of race 1. But cool-headed Robertson retook the lead and then dominated the second race with a wire-to-wire win. With Postma on the ropes, he won the race 3 start and held on until the finish, despite Robertson cutting the 150-metre lead down to 20 metres. Could the Dutch skipper find a way to level this thrilling quarter-final tie?
It is the red boat of Postma to windward. Is he going to be able to roll Robertson here and get over the top? I think he might be early for the line here. Robertson accelerating as Postma got anywhere to go. Can he get away with it? A lot of time to go. Now Robertson 2-1, and there's the start. And
wow.
Was he okay?
Yes,
Postma off to the races.
Just made it in there, starting ahead of Phil Robertson, but it doesn't matter. He's got to stop.
So he's got a penalty to do. He's going to have to drop back, but at least he's in a position where when he drops back, and now Robertson asking for a second penalty.
I don't know. That one could be green, but there's the green flag. Craig Mitchell, not asleep at the watch. We still got the blue flag up. It must be down now. Postma's behind. The race is on. There it goes. But not before Robertson is ahead again.
And you can see the puff in the background. Postma flying a hole and Robertson in the foreground, dead in the water.
Wow.
So PJ Postma, again, sailing incredibly well. He's gotten rid of his penalty and now right back in this match.
And Robertson knew it. You heard him apologize for not jibing immediately there and staying in the breeze that Postma's in. Postma could be ahead.
So, I think Postma must have rolled over Robertson's breeze there, because even though, Postma was flying a hull, and he still is, that pressure never came down to Robertson's, or maybe it did, and because it was Postma's gas, Robertson never had the opportunity to fly the way Postma did there for a considerable amount of time.
Well, he's certainly gained quite a lot on this downwind run, the last downwind leg of the race, and he's jibing for the leeward gates. Now
so that's Phil Robertson saying possibly go on him here. And then he changed his mind.
Ooh, big puff to PJ Postma, the boat heeling around the leeward mark, and he'll furl as he heads upwind over Phil Robertson, 3 lengths.
Wow,
good
not
game.
Much in it.
Oh,
3, he's
Robertson
hooked the mark.
has caught
That's
the mark,
Phil
and
Robertson.
he's stopped in the water. They're going to have to disconnect it. That is slow. Postma sails on. Robertson's in trouble. There's PJ Postma having deployed the Jenniker in this lighter breeze upwind.
Yep, Postma on the final leg. He's on the final sprint to the finish now, and this is going to be I think a popular result on shore to take down the current world champion. and he got there easily in the end, but didn't he do well? PJ Postma across the finish line to take one, to draw it up 2-all. Excellent job by PJ Postma, and it'll all come down to the 5th deciding race.
Not an ideal race. Obviously had the lead and let it slip straight away. So yeah, we've got some big things to do and some tactical decisions to make a bit more smarter, and so we're going to do this next one.
It was do or die as the tie entered a must-win race 5 for both skippers.
Trouble for Postma. He's stopped in the water.
Is he going to have enough steerage to get back onto starboard? I don't think so. Oh, that's disaster, and it's Phil Robertson, Jenica on, flying a hole off to the races, and Postma facing the wrong way, just didn't have the speed, the steerage, the pressure to get away with that last manoeuvre.
After Robertson tied Postma in knots in the pre-start, the decider was a foregone conclusion, and the match racing world champion dispatched the Dutch skipper 3 wins to 2.
No, it's good. It's always nice to put yourself under a bit of pressure and be able to perform when you do that. So, yeah, it's good. Maximum races, you know, we're getting the most out of it.
We work as a team very hard. We're progressing every month, so that's good. And it was a tough fight, but also some unnecessary mistakes.
Robertson's win sets up a mouth-watering semi-final tie against Ian Williams in what would be their first matchup in the M32 Catamarans. Meanwhile, in the other side of the draw, Matt Jerwood would face Sam Gilmore in an all-Australia, all-Perth and all-Sailing Buddies tie. Don't miss it. Welcome back to Match Cup Russia, the 4th event on the 2017 World Match Racing Tour. It's the business end of the regatta. 18 teams have been whittled down to just 4 semi-finalists, each vying for a place in the final and precious points on the season leaderboard. One half of the draw sees an all-Australian, all-Perth affair as Matt Jerwood meets his sailing buddy Sam Gilmore for the first time at a World Match Racing Tour event. Whilst in the other semi-final, current match racing world champion Phil Robertson takes on 6-time world champion Ian Williams for the first time in the M32 Catamaran.
The Red Line guys have raced the Neptune team many a time in many regattas, and they're always good matches. So yeah, we're looking forward to getting out there and trying to bash them around a bit.
I think today it's going to be all on. First time racing in the World Match Racing Tour, so definitely, you know, a bit more intensity than probably what we're used to.
Come on, Morgie!
Gilmore drew first blood as the pair went head-to-head. We joined the tie in race 2.
Yeah, it's going to be all about who can accelerate first. And there's the starting signal. Both boats kind of stop and lock together. That's got to be a penalty on someone. I think that'll be, you can see the boats pushing each other apart. Someone's going to get penalised, surely. And now they begin to accelerate. It's Gilmore that comes out of the situation ahead, but Jerwood very even indeed. They both crossed the starting line about 20 seconds late. Green flag, so we're off to the races.
Gilmore.
A little bit unconventional, but it's Gilmore in the lead. Forcing, oh boy. So, do not go in there is the call. You can hear the screaming.
Oh, look at that. Jerwood gets
shut him
spun
out.
And can't make the mark, and that's a massive move for Gilmore, who not only regains the lead, but pulls forward. Hang on, there's a flag on the play. Who's got it?
It's got to be Gilmore, I'd say, the way.
Oh, wow. Gilmore's the blue boat. Let's see. Yes, it is. Penalty, Sam Gilmore. Jerwood will now have to take the lead. What a massive turn of events.
Wow. So basically what happened there, Jerwood jibed first and accelerated. He had to choose which way he was going to go. I think Gilmore prevented him from going left, so Jerwood went right. Back on the port.
Here comes Gilmore on to starboard from the right. Under the rules, he's got rights if there's a collision course. Is Jerwood across on port? Big puff of breeze to Gilmore. Look for his boat to heel over as he gets it. Now this is going to be to the final mark before the finish. Who's going to be ahead? It's bow to bow right now. Can Jerwood cross? If so, he'll take the lead, and he has around the final mark. Jerwood heading for home, heading for the finish.
Big puff here, big puff.
And it's all but over for Gilmore. With that, Matt Jerwood will even the score at 1-all as he crosses the finish line to take the match.
Jerwood went on to take another win in race 3 to go 2-1 up before Gilmore levelled the score in race 4. With the tie finally balanced at 2-2, it was all or nothing for the skippers in race 5. But in a heartbreaking moment in the pre-start, Jerwood hooked the pin end buoy between his hulls.
Gilmore is off and Jerwood's in trouble.
Oh no, disaster for Jerwood. He got too deep.
Gilmore sealed the deal and moved on into the finals.
Just really happy with the way we're sailing, and these boys are doing a good job.
Semi-final 2, Ian Williams of GAC Pindar versus Phil Robertson of China 1 Ningbo.
We've never faced Phil in the M32, so we're excited to race against the world champion and see what he's got.
Yes, me and Ian have been around a few years on the World Match Racing Tour. More so him than me, but should be fun, should be interesting, and I'm really looking forward to it.
We're late.
5 seconds to go. Robertson puts his bow down now. Oh, there's the start.
And
it's Robertson off to the races. Williams up to windward, but Robertson in the favoured lee bow position.
Race 1 between Phil Robertson and Ian Williams, and it is Robertson out in front at mark number 1. Coming into the bottom gates is Robertson laying, and have a look. Ian Williams is looking for the overlap. These boats are almost neck and neck. Here we go, Williams. Yes, collision from behind. Now the umpires will make the call. Was it an overlap or was it clear ahead, clear astern?
That was a huge collision. I mean,
Blue flag.
Williams just seemed to drive up his rear end. Unbelievable. Like Williams claiming there was an overlap the whole time, and he just seemed caught in two different minds there, didn't he?
Guys for it. Now here comes Robertson taking the lead under the rules.
So this will be interesting here for when the umpires judge that Williams has completed his tack, because he's still in the lead.
Another tack pretty soon.
And Robertson changing sides with Williams. So his penalty still standing.
Stand by.
I don't think he ever behind Phil Robertson.
Cannot tack.
I like what Robertson's doing though, positioning himself to the right up against the boundary, so that when Williams gets behind him, he's going to be pinned in against the boundary in Phil Robertson's gas. Ian Williams still has to drop back behind Robertson, and let's see if
look at this. Robertson on starboard trying to get up to Williams. Is he going to ask for another penalty here? Williams accelerating.
Lose a bit now.
Look for Phil to do the same thing, and he is tacking onto port, closing gauge. Williams just has to stop. Robertson now has to avoid him.
Coming down.
So now Robertson puts his bow down, goes for the acceleration.
There's going to be a flag here. Williams can't penalty here. Now the penalty's got to be offset. This is unreal. Okay, now it's even. Williams is jibe.
Wow, it's all going on, isn't it? There's more flags and whistles. Unbelievable. I think Robertson got the better of that interchange because he unfurled, accelerated away, whereas Williams went straight into a jibe. But now Williams gets the big puff. It's just back and forth, isn't it?
Look at Robertson's angle, closing gauge. I think he's nervous of Ian Williams could roll him here. Yes, look at that. Have we had another lead change after an unusual beat?
Well, we were expecting fireworks, Tucker, but this is unbelievable. So it'll be Robertson jibing inside Williams.
Two prize fighters going at it, blow for blow. The first time these two world champions have ever sailed against each other.
Up on his
and it is as you'd expect. Fantastic action.
Which gate do you want? Left. Stand by. 2, 1, foul. Jibed. We need to sail fast.
That means he doesn't have flow across his rudders, which means he's struggling for steerage. This is dead even, isn't it? So they go around opposite gates.
3, 2, 1. Tacking now. Okay, trim on, trim on. Trim on.
Robertson puts his bow down. He's flying a hull. This is all on. Who's going to win this one?
Now Robertson will split to the right, but he'll have to do one more tack. Big lift for Phil Robertson. Good speed. Approaching the top mark for the last time. It's going to be Robertson from the right. Ian Williams from the left, who is ahead at this point.
Robertson on starboard, and I think that's Williams.
Williams slowing down. Is he on lay line for the top mark? Here comes the tack. Look for Williams to speed up, close the gauge, and it's going to be a final sprint to the finish. Robertson is ahead, but Williams is right on his heels. Williams is going to put his bow down, get hooked in there. Both boats will go into a set with the Jennikers.
Yeah, go.
Here comes Williams, setting, and Robertson, half a length ahead, heading for the finish line. Williams on his heels. Williams coming in strong from behind, but Phil Robertson has got it, just taking the race over Ian Williams. An incredible match.
No, a bit of a ripper, bit of an interesting one, you know. I still don't think we sailed the most clean race, so yeah, we've got to tidy that up a bit.
Race 2, and it was all action in the pre-start with Robertson already on a penalty. Could Ian Williams capitalise?
It's been a minute so far since the gun has gone off.
Double penalty on him.
Double penalty on Phil Robertson.
Wow,
what happened there?
Flag, so
no, double penalty, sorry. Yes, Robertson slowing down.
So
Williams
I think that,
pulling forward.
I can only guess that's Robertson not doing enough to shed his penalty. So I'd expect one of them to come down now. That looks like about a 2 boat length lead to the up, so that's the first penalty shed.
He's still got to slow down to get rid of the second one, but he's going too fast.
Now Robertson comes screaming on.
So it's Ian Williams' match now. Penalties are all off, and Robertson is back in the match, a length and a half behind, giving chase to Williams, who's in the lead. Here comes the first jibe.
So Robertson launched into the jibe there first, so he will have a bit of a jump on Williams, and maybe he'll be able to roll over the top. This racing is so close, it's unbelievable, and nice job by Phil Robertson and his team to shed a double penalty there. There's Robertson
and
in
get right back in the match,
ripping over the top.
Stay up! Wait up! Jeez, guys.
So let's see how Robertson's done when they come back together. This time there's Robertson jibing behind into windward.
3, 2, 1.
This has been spectacular sailing in the semifinals for both pairs.
So it looks like Robertson following Williams around the same mark. Again, only 3 or 4 boat lengths in it, and again, that's one maneuver. It's absolutely nothing in these boats.
6.8 seconds.
Oh, he's hooked the mark.
Oh, no, Robertson hooked the mark again. He's going to have to stop and dislodge himself as Ian Williams sails on comfortably out in front.
We're good.
Yeah, disaster for Phil Robertson. We saw this yesterday. It was a pretty close race going into that mark, but that's all but race over.
Here off the Peter and Paul Fortress, and race number 2 goes to Ian Williams to even the score at 1-all here in the semifinals.
With the tie balanced at 1 win each, could anything separate these 2 match racing heavyweights in the race for a place in the final? Find out after the break. Welcome back to Finals Day at Match Cup Russia, the 4th event on the 2017 World Match Racing Tour calendar. Australian skipper Sam Gilmore of Neptune Racing was the first to secure a spot in the final after defeating compatriot and hometown training partner Matt Jerwood of Redline Racing in semi-final 1. With semi-final 2 between Ian Williams of GAC Pindar and Phil Robertson of China One Ningbo finally on 1 win apiece, who would be joining Gilmore in the final of Match Cup Russia? Williams picked up an early penalty in the pre-start in race 3. The teams went bow to bow throughout, but as the British skipper tried and failed to offload his penalty, Robertson flew over the finish line to take the lead for the second time in the tie. With Robertson on match point, Williams had to win to stay in the regatta in a 4th do-or-die race.
like a cat ready to pounce on his prey.
Yep.
Having an eye on Ian Williams to lure it. Here comes Phil
Robertson's
Robertson.
accelerating. He's got a lot of pace on here. Which side's he going to go? It looks like he's going to try to go over the top of Ian Williams. If Williams gets that puff, I think Robertson's in trouble. 3, 2, 1. It's going to be close.
Dead
oh my
even
goodness,
start,
that was
and we're
on the
off.
line. They're saying all clear, but both boats, Williams in particular, right on the line.
Big puff of breeze for both teams as they pile into mark number 1. Phil Robertson's bow forward, but Ian Williams is inside, a luff. And there we go around, bows dig into the water. Phil Robertson trying to regain it. Has he got it? Now there could be a penalty there. Robertson in exclusion zone will look to jibe. Williams will have to give him room, but the umpires have green flagged it. It is even and we're off.
Yeah, so, wow, big puff on Williams, and he's up, Is he going to hold it?
Capsize, hang on to it, is Williams going to go over? Williams could put it in right here. Robertson pulls forward, contact on the rig, it's going. Is he going to save it? Is he going to bring it back? Oh my goodness, Williams is back, but Robertson's ahead.
Wow, Williams sheets on and he's going again. That cat just hung there forever, didn't it?
Can Williams get back in this match and save his hopes of moving on in Match Cup Russia over Phil Robertson, or will Robertson seal the deal right here?
Robertson on board, blue flag, looking very comfortable.
And that's the final tack live for Phil Robertson. Heading for home and looking to seal the deal over Ian Williams. Williams with a massive puff from behind, but will it be too little too late?
And not surprising, but no Jenica unfurl on Robertson's boat, Tucker.
Crew actually coming off the rack, and they cross the finish line. Phil Robertson will go 3-1 up over Ian Williams here in Match Cup Russia.
Oh mate, what a fight that was. It was a pretty tough round, I must say, in very shifty conditions, and yeah, pretty much bumper boats that whole series.
After 77 races over 6 days, 18 teams are whittled down to just 2 skippers, in with a chance of taking the crown here at Match Cup Russia, and with it, precious tour points. Reigning match racing world champion Phil Robertson of China One Ningbo, and Australian tour card skipper Sam Gilmore of Neptune Racing. Unbeaten in the M32 Catamaran Tour events in 2017, it would take something special to defeat Robertson. Could Gilmore produce the goods here in St Petersburg?
5 seconds to go. Gilmore driving hard, put the bow down. It's Gilmore sheeting on, and across the line they go.
And we're off in race number 1, but not before a recall. Phil Robertson, the world champion, is over early, and Sam Gilmore takes an early lead.
Wow, so that was recall Robertson, but the penalty's already gone.
Look for an early jibe
Penalties.
here. Both boats are around. Phil Robertson is within just a few feet of Sam Gilmore. Gilmore in front, but he may be in a bit of trouble. Simultaneous jibes. Here we go. Can Robertson roll Gilmore, or can Gilmore stay ahead? Gilmore's done a nice job getting a bit of separation there, but a big puff of breeze on Robertson's boat, and Robertson now looks to roll over the top. It's a lead change.
Well, it's
Robertson.
all going on here. It's Gilmore now powering up downwind. Still plenty to play for. It looks like Robertson who got the lead, but now Gilmore right back in there. Look at Gilmore flying.
Well,
here goes the next jibe.
Robertson has the lead into the leeward gates, but Gilmore now is right on his heels. Nothing in this match, just as you'd expect. Sparks are flying here in the finals of the 4th event on the World Match Racing Tour. Robertson only just leading into the bottom gate.
So you can see even sailing downwind, they're flying, they're probably doing 15 knots, and you could see Phil Robertson glancing around, just studying the racetrack.
Are they laying down, or will they need to soak or jibe? Either of those two will be a loss in speed, but clearly Gilmore's going to have to jibe to get down there. Here comes Gilmore with the jibe, and Phil Robertson just soaks and rounds, taking the left-hand side again, in control.
So that looked like a nice jibe by Sam Gilmore. He comes flying into the leeward mark. And you can see how much breeze there is. A big wheelie by Gilmore around the bottom mark. He's able to keep it in the water.
That'll slow him down, though, a length or two as Robertson tacks to port to stay in check with his competition.
So if Gilmore's laying, he will have compressed. That's the first of the gate marks, and there is Gilmore unfurling, filling his Jenica and flying onto the final reach leg. And Gilmore definitely closed up, didn't he?
He has, but it is too little too late. In the finals of Match Cup Russia, race number 1 goes to Phil Robertson.
First blood to the reigning match racing world champion. Race 2, and Robertson led Gilmore off the start to comfortably increase his lead to 2-0.
And they've won the second one as well over Sam Gilmore.
Gilmore had it all to do in race 3. With one hand on the trophy, could Robertson take his 3rd consecutive Match Cup final win?
Here we go, the 2-minute signal. Gilmore to the left in the orange boat, Phil Robertson in blue to the right, and we're into the pre-start.
Yeah, nice entry by Phil Robertson coming down. And that's interesting. That was Gilmore claiming that Robertson really didn't complete his jibe or have the option to jibe there. So he's asking the question of the umpires.
That's Gilmore trying to get nasty already. Minute 30 to go, looking for the umpires. Green flag, no penalty. Pretty sure that Robertson is going to close the door. There's the gun, we're off. Race number 3, and Phil Robertson with the deploy is already well ahead of Sam Gilmore, who's up against it to catch up. Great audio coming off of Robertson's boat. He talks his way through the race, and that certainly is entertaining for us to listen in. On board with Phil Robertson, leader so far at the bottom marks.
2, 1, Phil. 2, 1.
On board with Robertson, making it look easy.
Ready to deploy.
They set up for the top of the track and the next downwind run.
2, 1.
So at about a 6-7 boat length lead to Robertson. He deploys his Jenica, which means he's going to accelerate and stretch out that lead a little bit. Robertson just seems to have his little private puffs when he needs them on demand. And there it is again. Robertson flying a hole and Gilmore just a little bit stuck.
Yeah, stuck in the water. It is unusual that Robertson just hooks into puffs at just the right moment on the race course. This time he switched over, interestingly, to the left-hand mark looking downwind, or the right side of the race course looking upwind, and it's slowing him down as well, Scotty.
It is. So he's kind of tucked in under the walls of the Peter Paul fortress here. And Robertson's slow, but again, we've noticed this before. Even when he's going slow, he seems to be able to keep moving, which in the light air is incredibly important.
2, 1. Light air's here, boys.
Into the jibe, Phil Robertson and crew. In front of the fans on shore at the beach here off the Peter and Paul Fortress in St. Petersburg, Russia, as the sun comes out and shines on Robertson.
Big squad, boys.
There it is again, Scotty, another private little puff. Propels him downwind.
Some of these puffs, we don't even see them on the water. It's just a little,
Be careful here, Jimmy.
you know, a little bit of pressure here, a little bit there. And
they won in Australia, they won in Sweden, and now crossing the finish line, it is Phil Robertson, victorious again. They have won Match Cup Russia.
Really hard week for us here this week. I think we've struggled a lot in many senses, many ways, and we've managed to fight right through to the end. Sam sailed a brilliant week this week, and I think we say we know if we can sail our full potential, we're pretty hard to beat. So it was a nice way to go out, and
I think the sun started to shine and St Petersburg turned it on, so great location, great little centre and pretty hard racetrack to sail on, so challenging week all in all, and yeah, good to come away with the win.
After a week of ups and downs and a few close shaves, Phil Robertson and his China 1 Ningbo team defeat Sam Gilmore of Neptune Racing to take their 3rd win of the season. Ian Williams of GAC Pindar secured his 3rd place spot after defeating Matt Jerwood of Redline Racing in the Petty Final. Robertson extends his unbeaten run in 2017 and increases his lead over British skipper Ian Williams at the top of the overall leaderboard. The World Match Racing Tour skippers now turn their attention to the next championship event on the calendar, WMRT Chicago Match Cup. See you there.